I call this meeting to order at 7 p.m. Trustee Dobrow, will you please lead us in the pledge of
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk Larson, could you please have a roll call?
Trustee Dobrow. Trustee Kirby. Trustee LaFreda.
Present.
Trustee Rappa.
Present.
Supervisor Baumann.
Present.
We have a quorum also present. Highway Supervisor Bob Kula, Finance Committee Vice Chair Travis Haley, Clerk Larson, and Council Megan Mack.
Do we have any public comment tonight? Once. Twice. For public comment. Reports. Do any of the trustees or the clerk have reports they would like to give?
Powers of report to items 8 right now.
Okay. Anybody else? I just want to give a really brief one. 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, we had a Touch a Truck event. I really want to thank the staff, the volunteers, the highway department, local municipalities, Lakes Disposal, and all the volunteers from social service agencies and government agencies that came out to support us. It was a great event. We had great weather. We had hundreds of people showed up, and the kids just had a really good time. We could not have done it without the help of the community to make it successful. On the same note, we also had a COVID event going on at the same time as our Touch a Truck. Our first COVID event, we had 7 residents of Avon Township get vaccinated.
Awesome.
And then 3 weeks later, we had another 7, and they were not all the same people. So I think that overall, that was a successful COVID event. I would like to thank the Lake County Health Department and the Illinois Department of Public Health to come out and offer to do a free clinic for residents of Avon Township. And lastly, on October 24th, the Round Lake Exchange Club will be having a Halloween bash. So this is going to be our first Halloween event at the township. I am looking for volunteers, people from the community or people on the board who want to help us with this event. We're not sure how big it's going to be, but I am going to be doing the Round Lake Park District trick-or-treat event that's on this Saturday coming up. And I'm going to be passing out flyers to get residents to come to our event. So I would love to have support in case we get a big group of kids that want to play games, carve pumpkins, and we're also going to be doing a trunk or treat. So if you are a local business and you want to have a spot in our parking lot, we would love to have you. You could just pass out treats. And if you have any information that you want to give out in your business, you're more than welcome to. It's just another way for Avon Township to engage in the community. And while we're doing that, we'll be passing out information about the township and the services that we provide. And if there's any questions about the events or anything, let me know, or you could always talk to me after our meeting.
Is that the Park District this Saturday?
Yes, that was one that I asked you if you wanted to help me with.
Well, there you go. I'm curious, assuming that the Park District, the new Park District parking.
And on the graph, I think, yeah. And that's from 3 to 5. And our event is from 2 to 4, the 24th. Any other questions? Can I have a motion to approve the reports in person and in our packet?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any comments? Roll call?
Trustee Dobrow.
Aye.
Trustee Kirby. Trustee Rappa.
Aye.
Trustee LaFreda.
Aye.
Supervisor Baumann.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Under new business, can I get a motion to approve the minutes as presented on the September 14th, 2021 regular board meeting?
Motion.
I'll second.
Motion by Brown, second by Repa.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Kirby.
Yes.
Trustee LaFredo.
Aye.
Trustee Dobro.
Aye.
Trustee Repa.
Aye.
Supervisor Bellman.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Number 2, can I get a motion for approval of the monthly bills as presented and A, prepaid bills to start off with?
Motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Dobro.
Aye.
Trustee Kirby.
Aye.
Trustee LaFredo.
Aye.
Trustee Repa.
Aye.
Supervisor Bellman.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Can I get a motion for approval for the monthly bills as presented and outstanding bills?
I move to approve the outstanding bills.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
I just want to say what a joy it is to read the bills. It's just a pleasure.
I'm glad it's a pleasure for you.
You pay other people bills?
Roll call.
Trustee LaFredo.
Aye.
Trustee Repa.
Aye.
Trustee Dobro.
Yes.
Trustee Kirby.
Yeah.
Supervisor Bellman.
Yes. Aye.
Motion carries.
Number 3, can I get a resolution to transfer previously appropriated funds within the township fund, assessors division?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Trustee LaFredo.
Aye.
Trustee Repa.
Aye.
Trustee Dobro.
Yes.
Trustee Kirby.
Yes.
Supervisor Bellman.
Yes.
Motion carries. Resolution 21 RS 17.
Number 4, can I get a resolution to set a spending threshold for the highway supervisor? This came about because Bob wants to know, now that he's under the supervisor, as how much he's allowed to spend without asking for approval. And I know in the resolution, we have the numbers. Bob, do you have the numbers or any questions?
I think I gave the number to Crystal, so I believe it's, 2,000 without approval, 2 to 5 with approval from, Michelle or another board member in Michelle's absence, and then being on 5.
I said right now, Bob always is in contact with me, he's gonna be spending something, and I think that's gonna continue on, but this way he knows there's a little bit of leeway if there's something he has to purchase, especially with the winter time coming up. If there's an emergency, he's able to move forward without our permission.
Also, very appropriate that trustee Alfredo is the designee if they're available, since this is his area of expertise.
I would like to add one caveat to that, that's gonna be salt, of course, because salt, we ordered by 100 tons, and where we filmed the beds, that's just gonna be way beyond that number,
Yeah.
so that's just something I need to do when I need to do it, so. Salt would be the only exception to the rule.
I can understand that. I would assume you'll give us the information, like you always
I
do,
will.
that it's coming, but if we get a heavy snow, I understand, I mean, that stuff's gone.
Right.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, just me.
I'm okay with it if everybody else.
I mean, the bill, I'll order it, you're gonna still have to approve the bill anyway, but, if we're ordering a heavy amount, I can send an email, just have to do.
What month are you planning on buying this all?
We're already ready for. We're already ready. We're in the room.
Okay, so upon needed then.
Yeah.
Bob, that's under a state contract, is that correct?
Yeah, we're.
And that contract was-
Not Illinois, we're not.
Or county?
The county one, correct.
And we had through that county purchasing agreement, that already came to the board?
That's already been.
So we don't need.
Then you've already got the authorization, the board's reviewed it and it's gone through.
I think that was in May, I think that was like our first resolution that
I
we
just,
did.
yeah, I just like to keep it.
We appreciate that.
Is winter coming?
Global warming.
Now we'll have the salt for next year.
There you go, doesn't go bad.
I'm
motion to, accept the resolution and pass it.
Second.
Any more discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Repa.
Aye.
Trustee Kirby.
Aye.
Trustee LaFredo.
Aye.
Trustee Dobro.
Aye.
Supervisor Bowman.
Aye.
Motion carries. Resolution 21 RS 18.
Number 5, a resolution approving an individual credit card transition spending limit increase for the essential program. So that's me. So every month I go to the dollar store and I buy essentials that our residents need. Right now, they're getting 5 essentials, which is literally like $5 in items such as toilet paper, paper towels, toothpaste, shampoo. These are the bare necessities, and I'm saying bare necessities that people need to like function. Just to go to work with clean clothes, clean hair. So this is part of our program that we do every month. But the limit was 500, I believe, and we're asking to increase it. Not that I've ever spent right now more than about $600. But we're asking for a resolution for me to have that ability to spend $1,000 per month upon needed. And again, that's not a lot of money for the amount of residents that we serve, and I don't plan on spending that much money. But because if I'm if I'm doing a credit card transaction, I want to make sure that I'm staying within the supervisor's budget every month. And so that's why we are asking you for $1,000 limit on my credit card.
I move to approve the individual credit transaction resolution 21 RS 19.
I'll second.
Does anybody have any questions on it or discussion?
The only comment I want to make is the fact that you're going to a dollar store and they've already mentioned that they're going to be raising all of the rates, so no longer can you just get things for $1 at most dollar stores. So you have to go up about it.
So that's good. And what I do now is I drive my car and I pick up all the essentials. Sometimes I have people helping me. If not, I'm driving 2 or 3 times back and forth, pick up all the supplies that we need. But these people are very grateful when our residents come in and they're able to get the basic necessities, just like we have the diaper program. It is appreciated. So you're right, the prices were going to go up. And I'm not sure when that starts.
It should start, if my memory serves me right, at the end of this month.
So what I'll do is every month it varies a little bit what we order, but I will take note of that and I'll see how much we are going up buying the same amount of items. So thank you. So roll call. Did we do that? We're good?
Oh, I got a comment. Trustee Kirby, well done by calling out the resolution number and getting me for once. Nicely done.
Awesome.
It's a pattern, honey. It's a pattern.
Roll call.
Roll call.
Trustee Repa.
Aye.
Trustee LaFredo.
Aye.
Trustee Dobro.
Aye.
Trustee Kirby.
Aye.
Supervisor Bowman.
Aye.
Motion carries. 21 RS 19. Thank you, Madam Trustee.
So number 6, discussion and possible action regarding the Fort Cemetery rules, regulations, and authorized service providers. For some of our residents, you may not be aware that we do own a cemetery. I believe we acquired it about 2 years ago, about 2 years ago. And so we are responsible for what happens at the cemetery. And I received a phone call that there was somebody who would like to be buried with her family.
On top of so they call it remains.
Yeah.
Second right of interment it's called. So I did do, as Michelle did, we did some checking to see what other townships are doing. However, after mulling this over and really looking over the area, my suggestion is that we close the cemetery. I don't think we should do any business with it. I'm gonna tell you why. The biggest issue I have with it is its location on 120. Pulling out of 120 out of the cemetery is, most of the time you have to abandon turning left and turn right. And when the cars are coming up the hill from Bacon Road, where the old forestry department used to be, or where it is now, they appear out of nowhere because of that hill. It's really a dangerous area. It's not what it used to be back when that cemetery was active. You know, when maybe you had 5 or 10 cars a day. Now the traffic there is flying down that road. And I'm a little bit concerned about, if once we do this for one person, it's gonna continue. The other issue we have is parking over there. There's just a horseshoe driveway right now. There's no parking off the side of the driveway because the cemetery is really full. So that, I'm just giving you my opinion. I don't want to create any more customers in there. Bluntly. So that's my recommendation. And, you know, if something changed there, if there was a way to do parking, or I think you'd have to do, like, you have to have police out there, I think, every time to get a real barrel in there correctly, get them in, get them out safely. And I don't know if we could do something like that. I don't know if that's the right direction to go.
I hear your take.
My opinion.
So just for discussion, can you let everybody know what your role is at the cemetery, what our role really is? I mean, basically.
We are, you know, it is owned by the by the township now, so the county took it over when it was abandoned, basically. There was nobody taking care of it anymore. There was volunteers were doing whatever they could over there, but then we had trees, like birch that were actually growing through, you know, the back. It was very, very, very bad. So the county asked us to take it over. They did spend a significant amount of money and some manpower over there, but getting it cleaned up, and then we took over after they deeded it or whatever, however that works in writing to us. Then, you know, we took over the maintenance of it, so we took care of tree removal, weekly mowing over there. Anything needs to go on. There's also Vern Paddock, who was I think I talked about him before, but he's a volunteer who did a lot of work over the cemetery. Just to get some family roots there, but it's become his passion to work on the cemetery. He renovates the grave funds over there that are really just where you can't read. I mean, he's done a fantastic job over there. Him and his wife both do a lot of work over there. So, you know, that's where we're at right now. We just do the upkeep and keep it up.
The cemetery's been there since like 1850.
Yeah, there's some very, very old ones over there. So, that's where we're at. Again, I'll go along with what you guys want to do, but that's my opinion. I just know because from being over there doing work over there and trying to get out of there, I didn't blame them.
So this is the cemetery on Shorewood?
No, that's Avon Center Cemetery. I can be the president of that cemetery over there, but no, we're talking about on Route 120, just east of Fairfield Road and west of Cedar Lake Road. So when you're coming down 120 up towards Fairfield, before there's a trailer park, a mobile home park on the right, the intersection, before that, right before that, as you come up the hill, and I like to do a nice long signal before I turn right into there as well, because everybody really comes up full speed ahead.
Perfect. And I've never seen it.
You haven't seen it?
I've always missed it.
Yeah, you blink, it's gone.
So, so that's all there is to,
Can you turn right now?
the horseshoe is really,
Do you want to share the screen so that it's part of the presentation? Just go ahead, Bob.
no, I can you get the picture back? No. Yeah, so the horseshoe is the only place to park. And half of it, about halfway through that horseshoe, to the east is actually St. Joe's, maintained by Ascension Cemetery. And then right about halfway through that horseshoe to the west is Fort Hill. So that's what we're dealing with. There's no parking area there. There's nothing to deal with. And then, like I say, that area there on Belvedere, you know, on 120, they're coming from the east. That's all hill right there. So as you come up, it's really a blind left-hand turn pulling out of there. So.
Can you put a satellite view on for a second?
Pardon me?
Satellite view. If you like to zoom in.
We're like really getting into this.
Okay.
There it is. So the
It's small, I mean, it's not a big.
small. Our grass is actually a lot greener than that now.
And right where the shadow for the tree is, right in the center of that horseshoe, that's where you'll see the sign where it says entering Fort Hill Cemetery.
Right.
It's kind of funny, as you drive in off the entrance on the right, there's no signage, but as you're pulling halfway through the horseshoe, you're then entering into the Fort Hill side. And if you enter that entrance on the left, it also says Fort Hill Cemetery.
That was donated by Vern Paddock, those signs.
So, Bob, I agree with your opinion on this. What can the township do with or without it?
No, it's ours anyway.
Oh,
it's ours to deal
If
with.
it's just shutting down, we are responsible for
When-
that.
when-
And we still have to maintain it.
That's-
When a
it's ours.
cemetery becomes abandoned or, townships have to take over. So,
Gotcha.
so it's ours forever, it's the township's forever, I should say. So, it has to be maintained, which is, just something that's part of our living.
And someone's asking us,
They want to put their remains, they have, I think a mother and father, I think the daughter or the son, I'm not sure which, I'm sorry, but the daughter, the son, and then the son-in-law or daughter-in-law wanted to put their remains on top. They are actually, the daughter and son-in-law are in their eighties.
They're in their eighties and,
I mean, I don't, I just think if we open this thing, we already did one burial there, because people already had purchased the plots and sitting there waiting for it. But I think we might come across some of those, and we can't turn those away. But to open it up for additional business, I don't know, if that's the way to go.
I don't disagree with your take. I would,
I think it's just, if it was on a flat, let's do it, I think it's a great.
so we have to take a resolution. How do we say,
I don't know,
This-
I don't know.
cemetery is closed. Megan? how do we
Well,
close?
I think because it's an action that you're, an executive decision that you're gonna make, to no longer accept anything, it would probably be appropriate to put it in the form of a resolution. If that's the direction that the board wants to take.
I mean, do you guys,
Like Bob is saying, you can't officially close it, it would just be, the action would just be that you would no longer accept any more cremains or.
I mean, this is a hard one only because
I agree.
like if I could be with my parents and now I can't be with
No,
my
no,
parents.
no argument.
No, I'm just saying, and I understand the logistics of it.
if you stop someone from just in the middle of the night, take a whole.
Actually, a lot, so we had that happen over at Avon Cemetery, somebody came and did the night burial. And,
How did you catch it?
honestly, God, I'm not kidding. Well, the dirt was disrupted, the grass was disrupted, the guys who maintained the grass said, hey, man, they did a bad job. Somebody didn't.
You didn't bring
hide
his
it all.
bottle.
And in the end, they had to come back and take it out. And it had to be done correctly and everything.
So
Like I say, we may come across people who already have plots that are sitting there waiting, may come across some of those, and those we have to honor and respect.
So if we make a resolution saying that you already have a plot, or, I mean,
Well, I think that's policy.
that's policy, okay?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, how do you guys feel about it?
I mean, in terms of like using cemeteries, I've always felt that cemeteries should be used for recreational purposes in terms of like walking or biking, but obviously this is not that type of cemetery. It's off of 120, so it wouldn't work for that. No, like, yeah, if
Oh,
you,
we do have dog walkers in there.
yeah, dog walkers, or if you wanna like, ride a bike. or something.
Well, especially with the advent of COVID, when people were looking for a place to
I have
go.
never.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's really awesome, cemetery.
Yeah,
And, especially for big ones like in Chicago,
Yeah.
to go through them, they're nice.
Even
They
though.
got it for miles, yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
So, it's a place to get away from other people and be safe, I suppose, with COVID, so that's.
But obviously, this is such a small one,
Very
120, and we're talking specifically not about closing it, gating it off completely,
No,
but.
no, not at all, not at all.
Burial.
I mean, just not accepting new burials,
Yeah,
except for people who already have a plot that they paid
Sure,
for,
yeah.
now that are waiting to go in.
you already bought, we can't
Correct.
close that.
Yeah.
It sounds like- It sounds like we need a rule that says you can't have more than one person interned in any one spot, or the remains of one individual.
I don't think you have to go that far. I think you just say you're not accepting any further, any further burials.
Yeah.
And any burials, and then your policy, if you come along, anyone who has already bought a plot, then you have to honor that. But you don't even need to include that because that would just be a longstanding policy that you would have to honor.
Right, but this is a case where we already have someone who does technically own that plot. I think.
No,
It's different.
Yes.
no, this is the mother and father there, and they wanted to purchase additional land.
They're still alive, but they're looking to, they're in their eighties.
They're looking for a place to go, so they want to know if they can go, if they can't go here, they're gonna go elsewhere. so they're in their eighties,
I got a phone call from the.
Right, no, I understand the background.
so, anyway.
I've always wondered about the property rents and how that transfers from the person who's deceased, once they're deceased, because they can't own anything. That's interesting.
Well, it's not that, my understanding is that there are people buried there. They're just doing it on top of the people that are already burying. It's not a new plot.
It's not in the plot.
Right.
Yeah, so
It's called second rate.
I think we should just write a resolution and approve it at the next meeting,
No additional barriers.
with no additional burials.
I
That
agree.
would be my recommendation.
I hate to put celebration with it, but I just try to be safe about it, I just don't think it's the right area. And again, if it was flat land and we were somewhere where we would have 55 miles after moving by, and there wasn't a hill, we could safely get our cars in and out of there, I'd be happy to do it, I think it'd be a great idea.
Why don't you just take their asses and scare them a little bit? Fun.
You're not allowed to do that, you know.
People do it.
Well, I second Jeannie's motion.
I think we have to do it different.
No, we have to do
Oh,
a.
The resolution, I'm just recommending we make.
Yeah, you have to put it on your next agenda.
And approve it at the next meeting.
Megan,
Yeah, I can write it.
thanks. Thank you, Megan. Megan will write it and then we'll have it for next month meeting.
Yeah.
And I appreciate, Bob, you're giving us your feedback because we don't deal with cemeteries very often. And I said, it's a hard one, but I definitely
It is.
see it our, cemeteries. So
I actually feel terrible about it, but I think it's,
we'll talk about that again next month.
I know Vernon Township's had their problems with it too. They have two of them that they're responsible for that are active. And they still have problems with people who went, we have grandfathered rules, we can decorate however we want, and it does turn into a bit of a mess.
So let's move on to number 7, discussion and possible action regarding a multi-use path along Haynesville Road. I'm going to refer back to Bob again because Bob has been working on this project for a while now.
so I think we talked about it the last meeting, and we just needed to get it into, we needed to get an action, either a resolution for a possible approval for you guys. I think we talked about it, everybody was on board. We have the updated sheet here, I should have it, I think, Chris, we got that to them.
Yep.
So that reflects, the approximate cost of the multi-use that, including the engineering cost. That was 98.
And this is a long-term plan. It's not even going to start officially.
No, officially until probably 2024, 2025, because it's time to plan it. So.
Did everybody have a chance to read it? Because there's a lot to read.
So, Bob, just for clarification, at this stage, it's just a memorandum of understanding that would be issued by the township?
This is an approval for, we're going on board and saying we're gonna do our share, we're gonna pay our 20%.
Yeah, this is signed on.
Yeah, we're signing on,
It's not the contract, it's just the memo that we agree.
we agree, we're gonna get involved, and pay our share.
Yeah.
I'll make that motion.
One second.
We have more discussion on it.
I just want to say quickly that I think this is a great idea and we should be encouraging as many multi-use paths and bicycle paths and trails anywhere we can build them that makes sense in the township, so.
And I think this is for our board, this is a big deal for us. Because whether we're here in 4 years or not, this is a big decision that we are making that is going to forever, impact Avon Township for the better. I mean, obviously it's going to make this more complex, but the improvements, I think, outweigh, any of the negative. Bob's going to constantly keep us informed. I said, I've been invited to the meetings, but Bob understands it a little bit more than me because he's kind of in the field long, but as things come up, we'll make sure that the board is aware of what's going on. If Bob emails me anything, I'll make sure that the board is updated. And again, email Bob if you have questions directly. You just can't comment to everybody in an email. Any other questions?
Just about the financing part for it, I don't know if it's possible to earmark some money to set aside so it can get some interest in it so that it's easier for us to, or whoever the next board is, to swallow this pill. That's gonna be about $100,000.
I think we could look at that in the next budget.
Cool, fantastic. Okay.
Yeah.
Talk about this, why this came.
Yeah, we should definitely do more of these bike paths in the future.
Agreed.
Okay, yeah, so again, when we start looking at the new budget is when we'll be able to earmark money for any kind of future projects that we are planning on doing.
Thank you.
Sure. Need roll call or anything, we're good.
Yeah, roll call.
Can I have a roll call, please?
Trustee Dobrow,
Yes.
trustee Repa,
Aye.
trustee Kirby,
Aye.
trustee LaFreda,
Aye.
trustee Bell, or supervisor Bell.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Wow. I'm good with it.
4 years of hearing that, I can make mistakes.
We all only have one
I
vote, so if you think about it, it's, even though I'm supervisor, it's one vote for all of us. So, we're all equal here. Okay, number 8, discuss what? Okay. Discussion and possible action regarding flood mitigation tracking equipment. I'm gonna refer to Jeannie Kirby, or trustee Jeannie Kirby on this.
If you have a packet that, is stapled that has flood emergency equipment and agreement. And that is, first of all, the top part is the equipment agreement. I worked with the attorneys on this. We've edited it. We wanted, the goal was to have, we have 5 pieces of equipment that we rolled out. And I didn't want to have 5 contracts for each of the equipment. I wanted to have one contract to make it simple for us to keep track of it. And so you'll notice that there is a check off. So when we write the contract, we'll check off what they're essentially being renting. And this is all legal. So this is, we don't need a motion to approve this through the ratification because it's our business. We've already agreed to the guidelines of this, so it's already taken care of. And then behind the contract is, well, and just let me notice one more thing, that if you look at the last page, you'll see that the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 pieces of equipment. And you'll notice that there is a place to talk about the pieces. And the issue of the casualty value is that will change every year because it's based on how old the equipment is. So for the first one will be the price to purchase the equipment, but as it ages, that casualty figure will go down. Essentially will go down, and then you could be released to see how that applies if they lose it or don't return it. The other issue on that same packet are all of the sheets that will be used by the individual that works with the resident to loan the equipment. So it has the numbers, they've all been numbered, all the serial numbers are there except for the fan, because it's just a fan, that's all it is. And there's places for their name, their dates, the duration. They have to check it back in, if it meets all the requirements of return, and if the deposit was kept at return based on the condition, and all of that is in the contract. So those are each of the pieces of equipment.
Thank you. Jeannie's worked very hard on this. I mean, everything is labeled and we're basically ready to go. But I don't think, when as a trustee, when Pat Doobie first came up with this idea to save the grant, I fully can comprehend the impact this is going to have on our township. Until the equipment started coming in, I started talking to the Grays Lake Police Chief, and I'm talking to the fire stations and finding out that they have a list of names of people who need generators in case there is, a power outage, or in case something goes wrong. We have generators, we have dehumidifiers, we have life-saving equipment to help people to save their homes, to save their businesses. And this is going to be an amazing program. I'm kind of jumping the gun a little bit, but, well, I guess we'll finish. Might want the next one or should I wait?
Oh, let me say, I think, maybe we should open just the garage so you can see. I think the impact of it is much more effective visually. It doesn't sound like much when you say 25 fans, but when you, yes, when you see, then you'll realize, the extent of what kind of impact we can have in case of there, any flood mitigation issues that we have in the Avon Township communities. So, I'd like us to just open it up and have everybody take a look.
I mean, I would, and again, our equipment is free of charge for people who need it. We're just asking for like a deposit, just in case something has happened or gets stolen. We just need to know what the equipment is, because the dehumidifier is about $1,500.
Yeah.
Or we have in the generators. This is not cheap equipment, but
I'm
this
sorry, I'm
is,
confused. Are we still considering this contract, or are we on?
No, we're doing the contract and then.
Gotcha.
yeah, it's just that, people have to understand this is very expensive equipment that we're loaning out. I mean, the fans are not that much. So we have to have, a contract. And except for the generators, I mean, they're gonna contract the generators, but the generators are only for people that have medical needs. So that's why I just wanted to make sure that you guys understand the distinction between a dehumidifier and a wet vac compared to a generator. So when somebody is checking that out, that's just for a certain,
I've had some side conversations about that. The concern I have, if we have them, why not loan them out? But then when you have somebody that's medically fragile that has to have a generator and you've loaned the last one out, you have no option. So, and there is working with the police who can actually set up a preliminary list of people so that they know that they're available and they'll be able to essentially fill out everything and make it easier for them to.
And they will be, contacting us too, if they know of somebody that's gonna need something. So we're gonna be building up that whole relationship with all the other municipalities, and, local governments and everybody. So we could work together, and possibly through this grant, actually keep something alive. And so I'm very excited, and I want you guys to see what's in, the garage. It's awesome.
So unless you have any more questions, we'll move on to.
So I just don't have a copy of it.
Oh, I'm sorry, you can have it. Here. Here, Bill.
Thank you. My question was, the generators decided they're,
Yes. How long? Yes, the time of the generator for all the equipment is 4 days.
Okay.
And they have an option within the contract that if they need an additional 4 days, they can contact us in writing. And then we can give them another 4 days. But remember this is emergency equipment.
Yeah.
So
I get it. Just so people aren't dogging with it after it's over, taking their time to get it back.
Well, and there's a penalty if that happens, and you'll be able to read the contract, there's a penalty that if you keep it past the 4 days or past the extension that you requested, then you get a 10% of a charge of 10% of the casualty value.
Okay.
How do they get the equipment? I mean, so you're gonna rent it out, how's it gonna get to where it needs to be?
It's the responsibility of the people to come and get it and take it and pick it up.
The nice thing about that
I mean, it
size
can be
inverter,
up to-
it's about this size, it's a little bit bigger than his bag there, and it's not that heavy.
Oh,
That's,
yeah.
it's not a big generator, it's a small
It's a
inverter.
small generator.
Okay.
Yeah, it's something everybody can put in their pocket.
And
I mean, it's really small.
I appreciate that, but, somebody's elderly, hopefully they have someone.
Well, and we have people that will help them put it in the car, and hopefully when they get home, there's somebody there.
I mean, well, we could take each case, upon needed, but right now we're hoping that if someone needs a generator, or like, you know.
And is this gonna be a 24-hour available thing? I mean,
Yeah, we talked about that, so I would be the main contact, but we also talked about, just like Bob does, if he knows there's a storm coming, or if we know the weather is gonna be really bad, not just the employees, but this is something that Jeannie and I talked about, that having, the trustees and the clerk on standby, because if we're gonna have to, if we know there's an emergency, you know, one person's gonna be typing in the information, one person's gonna be getting the equipment to, you know, the car. But yeah, there's a 24-hour hotline, and it'll start with me. But again, we're gonna be watching the weather, just like, as I said, just like Bob does, and if something happens, we're ready for it, because it might just be my subdivision, but not somebody else's subdivision, and, you know, and things like that. Because we haven't had it yet.
Well, and also, this is flood mitigation, so even though there's a storm, doesn't mean we immediately flood.
right,
So there is time. So they can't, in fact, for the people that we're loaning it to, it's the difference between having this or having nothing. So, the fact that there might be some time overlay, I think is just, they'll be just, I would be just thankful that there's.
And some neighborhoods flood more
when
than
it's
others.
generated, so come winter time, the story that I told you was winter, so when she was on the line, the breathing stuff, plus she had no heat in her house. Are these generators sufficient to keep her? Or is it just a portable unit that would only run your?
So,
Oxygen
like, to
system.
heat your home, that would, without a transfer switch, that would require a little bit of wiring, for the generator.
The quick answer is no.
Okay, did you have portable heaters?
No, that you obtained?
No, so it's
This
just
is,
because
this
of
is
flood
really for
mitigation?
flood mitigation and the power outage.
Okay.
So for our next grant that we may get.
There you go.
But again, it's ideas, it's talking, it was a way for, former trustee Pat JB to save this grant, and he did it fast. And I like that heating, I like that, idea, so that's something that, keep in the back of your head when we have other opportunities.
A small
So
space
that
heater.
woman that I was talking about, it was winter time and they lost the power due to storm, snowstorm. And the power went out on Friday and wasn't gonna be back Monday. And she was on
Yeah.
the oxygen and had no heat in January, so it was. Yeah, I know.
That brings up the question that at least that I've pondered in our entire process of doing this, is there is, the liability issue, and I had to make it very clear in the contract that the liability and use of that is the responsibility of the person that borrows it. And then you cannot hold the township liable for those kinds of things. And so I worry about that, especially when it comes to heaters, because those are things that we hear all the time about people that have heaters and houses full of fire. But the liability.
Most of the new ones have a
Lot more safety, yes.
safety.
And all of that is in here and with the approval of the lawyers.
So.
So can we talk about tracking it? That's where I was.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
right, that's right,
So the next piece of it is we have two pieces of the equipment that are very expensive, the dehumidifier and the generator. And so one of the things that was recommended to me and somebody who doesn't have anything to do with the township, by a person that just did this in their municipality, was a GPS tracker. Because the generator has to be kept outside. It cannot be run in the garage, it cannot be run in the house, it has to be kept outside. And we will give them a chain and a lock because it will have to be secured to something that's stable because it's outside, so people can just walk away with it. So we thought the idea was brought up to us, a tracking system. And I think I just mentioned it briefly, but in the second packet that you have, I talked to 3 different companies, 2 of which were very useful, and the one that I'm giving you is the Peak Truck and Follow-Up. And if you know that with all of the agencies that I talked to, you have to buy the hardware for the tracking system. Now, the hardware from this company, actually, I like the best. It was one of the cheapest, but it was also solar generated. So there was no need to use the electricity in order to keep it. And you have to pay, you have to buy the device. And for them, if they quoted me a price, which was a 16% discount, not huge, but a little, of $250 per device. So if you look at the two pieces, we only discussed it for the two most expensive pieces, the dehumidifier and the generator. But besides just that equipment, all of the companies that I spoke to, and they have told me that this is the industry standard, you can buy this GPS equipment, but you have to pay a monthly contract for them to keep the GPS. They track the GPS data. That's not your data, that they do that data. And so that's a monthly subscription. $12 was the best price that I got, and that's per unit. The other thing I talked to them about is, can you turn it up? Because quite frankly, this is not 365 days a year that we need to worry about flood mitigation. We need to worry about it in the spring and in the fall. So can we open it up in the spring, turn it off in the summer, open it back up in the spring and the fall? And no, those are yearly subscriptions, and based on the number of years is contingent on what the price is for those. And that was everyone that I talked to, that was the same thing, and it was the industry standard. So that is pretty pricey. And my concern is how much it costs, and I actually talked to Jeff about it, because this is an area where my expertise isn't quite fitting. So I says, maybe you should take over the negotiation of this. And he actually did some beginning work on it. Jeff, you want to talk about?
Sure, so what it comes down to, all in, for the 37 units we have for the 2-year contract that we have to keep the 20% discount. With the units itself, it comes to about $19,906. I like easy numbers, so it's be 20 grand.
That's a lot of
It's a
money.
big chunk.
Yeah.
And for the most part, it's just sitting there. My option, in my personal opinion, and that's all this is that we look into our theft, loss, liability insurance that we have.
Yes.
Because the chance of these walking, I don't think is that big. And I think all insurance is a gamble, right?
Yeah.
So I think we're better off holding on to our 20 grand over 2 years, and the chance that we might have one thing walk on us.
Yeah.
And whatever our liability insurance is.
And I know that Anne Marie has already talked to the insurance company about our grants and about all of the equipment that we've received. That's actually a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you are a trustee with us. Because it's true though, I mean, we want to trust people that nothing's gonna happen to anything, but if we lose one generator,
It doesn't cover the cost. We could
we
lose
lose
20
20.
Yes.
and still not cover costs. So it doesn't seem to be cost effective to me. And that was, when I talked to Jeff, I had concerns over the cost effectiveness on this. And though I like the idea, it doesn't fit for our little township.
Yeah.
And so I actually agree with Jeff, but I think for right now, let's see what happens. Let's use the integrity of the contract that states that if you lose it, you pay. And the integrity of our residents, that their intention is to borrow it and return it, and see what happens. And if we lose one, and look into our insurance option, I think that's brilliant as well. And we'll just keep track of it and see how it goes. But I just think the cost for this is just.
Yeah, I don't.
Ridiculous.
I make a motion.
We're keeping track of the
This
basic.
idea.
Oh, yes, there's a whole, that's in the package.
So I make a motion that we. Just not do anything.
Well, yeah, we just have our insurance, yeah.
Yeah.
Look into the insurance.
Look into the insurance.
So our action is that we look at insurance.
Yeah, and we don't need to take action because these are all procedures, we don't need to do those.
But thank you for those hours and hours of investigation that you did. For real, I mean, that's huge.
And you know what, I'm a systems person.
That's the last one.
Okay, so what do you need to do?
Okay, cool.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Okay,
It's 10.
There's no action at this time on that item.
excellent. Okay, so number 9, discussion and possible action regarding flood mitigation events. We are going to be having that in November. I was waiting for Pat Judy to let me know some of his days because he is commuting between Wisconsin and Round Lake. And we want to have an event. We want to have an event where the community can come out and you can see the equipment that we have. And again, it's an opportunity for you after the meeting to see it. It's just to know what's out there because there's no point in us storing it in our garage. If there's a business that failed for some reason, their business flooded because, real brief story, right when we got the equipment in, somebody was telling me that there was a bookstore downtown Graves Lake that flooded. If we would have known we had if they would, we had the equipment, they would have known it, maybe we could have helped them out. So it's not to keep it a secret, it's to let the community know and get that out. So when there is a date, I will let everybody know, and I encourage you to invite people to this,
That was this old book.
to this whole book,
Yeah, it came from the Scotch book,
okay?
but
Yeah, I heard about it, but it was just,
it's a shame. I don't-
it's just a shame, so
So when will the equipment be available?
it's available now. It's available now.
It's available now.
It's available now. We just, again, we had to have our meeting to figure out if we're gonna GPS it or what we're gonna do, finalize the contract for the board to approve it. So there were like a lot of steps. This past month or last month was all about the equipment. And you don't realize how much work it really is to label everything and figure out, counting the pieces that goes with everything and putting the equipment together. So we are ready. So if something does happen, Avon Township is ready to help serve the community.
I like the grand opening event. I think that's a good way to get people out and we can invite dignitaries and hopefully the press will pick up on it. And I think it's a good event. So whenever I move that we get a date approved and we mark it on the calendar and move forward.
I second that, and I'll just add to, in the future, we should consider bringing someone in to do like a flood prevention seminar, so residents can learn how to run their houses.
Good idea.
So maybe we could think about that for the next meeting, but I second, Dee's, motion to set a date for this one.
Yeah, maybe something in the winter to prepare for the spring.
Beautiful. As the snow melts,
That's
that's what we need to know.
great.
I don't know if we can do it. but we can do it.
We have sewers, obviously we have sewers.
Sanitary.
Not every area.
I know that just from personal experience, like the debris that gets in them, can be problematic, so, anyway, getting off topic, sorry.
I know, we all talk a lot. Okay, number 10, discussion and possible action regarding.
We have a motion on the floor in a second.
Roll call.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Yeah, I said, above the nose.
So, or not, I'm looking for my little sheet of. I'm like, Crystal, I'm gonna have to look at my phone for a second. So number 10, where which is discussion possible action regarding adopt a neighbor program. So this is a program that they are trying to start where the local businesses and community members will adopt a family. I'm looking for my exact numbers, but I believe last year we helped 82 families, 83 families, and we helped over 250 children up to age 13 receive holiday presents. And this is a great opportunity for the board, for the community, for businesses to get involved to help us. To qualify to be a part of our program, you have to already be in our system, meaning that your the amount of money that your family makes is already below a certain level to qualify for. So it's not like someone can just come off the street and say, I want to qualify for this program. We do follow the rules that are set up by LIHEAP and some of the other organizations where they have, a threshold. And it's just, I really would like the community, to know about our Adopt Later program. I'm not sure where this is going. If you guys have local businesses that you know, if we could get it on social media, and the more people that help support our families, the better the holidays are gonna be. There's a new program, Walmart is starting, where people are gonna be able to register on Walmart, at Walmart, and we can help, get their holiday presents that way. It's a great program, and I'm just encouraging you guys to let the local businesses know about it.
Those flyers.
I do, it should be in your packet, but you can have this one, and we can get you as many flyers as you want. Because we do want this to be a great holiday, and we are expecting our numbers to go up a little bit this year. So adopting a family is a great thing to do, depending on whatever your economic status is. Or you could just donate, a present that we'll be able to give, a child within, that age frame. You guys have any questions at all on this program?
I just want to make sure that, if, let's say, a non-religious person wants to do it for Christmas or another religion or something like that, we would allow them into the program. There's no, we don't cross anyone out. We accept all religions.
Yes.
Not just for Christmas.
I don't remember what the flyer looks like, even though I just gave it to you. But it says Stop a Neighbor, helping children for joyous Christmas. I'll have Candy change it to holidays.
Please, thank you.
Make it really simple. So again, this is just getting everybody's, approval. We just started with this past week. I know you need some, so.
It could be Christmas and holiday season. I don't need to cross out Christmas, but I just want to make sure that it's open to everyone, and not barring any.
Yeah, I think that's easily done.
We have recognized 3 in that same period. We have Hanukkah, we have Christmas, and we have, Kwanzaa.
Will the final flyer get some approval before it's posted, so we avoid the situation where multiple flyers with different conflicting information are shared?
Well, it's not conflicting information because we've already put out a bunch.
Gotcha.
It's additional information.
Additional information. Again, great idea. If you guys have input tonight, if you guys could take out your flyers, edit it a little bit, and then I can give it to Candy tomorrow, and then she can redo the flyer, and
I'll
then
just do it now.
okay. And then we'll get that flyer out for your approval.
Yeah, I would just say, Christmas and holiday gifts.
Perfect.
Make it simple.
And Michael, you're right, a constant message is what we want to have. And then this is, was a letter to the businesses. If you guys have any additions, changes to that, let me know.
That's the letter from us to businesses.
To businesses.
I have
I thought they could conduct to the board. I'm sorry, I'm gonna raise the objection that, and second, trustee Dover has objection. And say that this cannot say Christmas holiday all over the place. It does have to say holidays.
Okay,
If we're communicating out to the greater world with this program, we really need it to be non-discriminatory. It needs to follow
Yeah.
our anti-discrimination policy,
Here's
and it needs to follow it to the letter.
here's how I edited it, winter holiday.
Perfect.
Sure, yeah, perfect.
It comes right after Thanksgiving.
Not-
That's
it's
like
not
a-
considered a holiday.
Okay,
I already got my list of Hanukkah.
and so here's the letter. So everybody agrees, have a joyous Christmas and holiday season.
Or winter season.
Just drop Christmas.
Jump in, winter holiday season.
Help us drop holiday.
Okay, I'm giving this back to you.
The hardest stuff.
Can we just put the kid at the bottom where it says it takes a village to raise a family and make it say, it takes a township?
I like that.
Oh.
Ooh,
Okay,
I
yeah.
like that.
Any other suggestions? Oh, wait, do we have the one?
I guess my only overarching concern was that whatever flyer ends up going out is consistent throughout the process.
Okay, we can do that. Can I add one additional item? Where's my agenda?
We can go back to supervising report for that,
I thought that was gonna be in here.
or to other members and others.
I could do under members. What are we gonna do, executive session, or we switch them?
We can just do whatever because my understanding is not taking any action.
Right,
I would move that around that.
okay, so we are gonna go on to public comment. Does anybody have any public comment tonight? Okay, if not, we're gonna go to members' remarks, and I'm gonna speak. So, some of you guys are aware that I went to the auction on Saturday. Are you laughing at me? Mom? Say what? But, so we went to the auction, we auctioned off some of the equipment from the former supervisors and some of his purchases that he's made. And, Anne Marie does not come back into the office until tomorrow. So I'll have a better idea of whether we're up or down with his purchases that he made. But we did make, the tractor sold for $5,000. The wood 3-point hitch roller model sold for $650. The hydraulic 3-point hitch snow blower was not very popular at the auction.
That's a niche market right there.
It's sold for $30.
$30. Hey,
It's still $30. It's still $30. Yeah, that one was a tough sell. That was a tough sell. The lawn roller sold for $225. The spike drag sold for $100. The Hall Master 3-point quick hitch sold for $200. And the Lincoln Electric 375 precision welder sold for $4,400. So without their fees they took out, we made $10,074. That will be going back into township funds. Which was very successful. And Bob, how did your trucks do?
So the truck, the international, actually estimated that to go for 36 thousand.
Yes.
And then the smaller truck, I was thinking somewhere between 15 and 17, we were actually got into a little bit more, and I ended up going for 22.1. So, very happy with that.
oh, Brian.
Minus 5%, 5% commission. And sellers fee. I don't think that's very reasonable. I know you do it through, private, it's, so with the government, I think it's been broken up.
Overall, it was a very successful auction, and we have other items we could talk about in the future to sell online or another way, but it felt really good to know that we have $10,000 coming back to the township.
Let's go, we'll have to bring him back.
Nice.
I didn't buy anything.
No, I mean, we sold everything.
Yeah.
Now, nothing got came back.
No, nothing came back. No, nothing came
Good,
back.
good.
So that was really good. Does anybody have any questions about the auction at all?
That's great news.
So when I get the check, it'll be given to Anne Marie and deposited. Okay, any other comments?
Yeah, brief remark. I missed the report earlier. I was busy trying to get through paperwork. There's a note in my report that the levy is coming up. I gave you all a copy of the calendar and due dates for that. The final day for us to approve the levy would be December 8th of this year. I would really like to have that done in advance of that so that I'm not filing it literally on the last possible day of the calendar year to file. So with that in mind, the timeline, if we want to do this during just regular meetings, would be to propose the levy at the upcoming meeting in November and then approve it at the meeting in December. That'll give ample time for any hearings and necessary publications that need to go out without having to rush that timeline.
All right, let's do that.
So, and just keep in mind, the levy this year will be all inclusive for the road district. Permanent road, and the other one will be all inclusive with transfers. So we have to keep that in mind if we put it out.
Okay, you also have copies of last year's levies as part of that as well, so you have numbers to refer back to.
Any other members' remarks?
I have a question for so, since there's still maintenance that keep with the cemetery. And I talked about the possibility of levy for the maintenance of the cemetery. Is that still something that you're going to look into?
Even if we were to look into that, that's something that needs to be approved by the electors at the town hall meeting in April. It's nothing we could do for this year. And that depends some discussion from Bob as to what kind of costs we actually have there.
I don't know.
That's been part of our bigger
I
discussion.
don't know if that's necessary, you know. The amount of money that we, you know. It's not like if the guys aren't cutting the grass at home. They're either doing this or they're doing that. They're there 8 hours a day, doing one thing or another. So to put a number on it, I don't know, you know, yes, you spend X amount of dollars on gas every week, that number and a couple of gallons of gas. You know, it takes you about, because if you want to does it over there, you spend about 4 or 5 hours over there between mowing, weed whipping, and then, you actually take a leaf blower out and all the rest off the tombstone, so you don't do anything. On the stone, we can do general pickup, if there's anything to do that, branches, that type of thing, but, you know, to put a number on that, I don't know that we need to go through the whole running process, just, I don't think that's necessary. The only expenditure that's in the future for that, I don't know, that's still, but, is the, St. Joe side of the horseshoe, that is paved, ours is not. So that, you know, we want to pave it. Maybe, but it's really been gravel forever, it's an old cemetery, it's fine just the way it is, not a big deal. But, you know, do we need to levy for that, for maintenance, I don't know. It's,
My last comment.
My opinion.
Thank you. And my last comment would be, I'm just really grateful for our trustees and our clerk because everybody seems to be taking on an extra role, more than just showing up once a month. And I'm very grateful that you guys are doing that to make us a stronger team. So thank you for that. Do you have any questions before we go into an executive session? That's a private meeting where it's just the people who are with the board. I'm not sure how long that's going to take us. Do you have any questions?
No, I have no further questions.
Okay. And with that, I would like to go into an executive session for personnel.
So I need a motion under 5 ILCS 120/2 C1, the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body.
So,
I'll second.
and just for the public, there will be no action after that, so there's no need to take anyone.
Thank you guys for coming.
Roll call.
Roll call.
Trustee LaFreda.
Aye.
Trustee Repa.
Aye.
Trustee Dobra.
Aye.
Trustee Kirby.
Aye.
Supervisor Bauman.
Aye. What?
Motion carries. We are in executive session at 8:08 PM.
Let me look into anything.
Hi, Travis.
No, that's so.
No.
Right.